Ever notice someone dragging large black bags through the hospital lobby and wonder who they are? That, my friend, is a medical device rep. Welcome to Device Guys. Your hosts, Brent Lloyd and Jason Doliak, bring 50 years of combined medical sales experience to the table, sharing insights, stories, and a behind-the-scenes look at this fascinating world. Enjoy the conversations.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brent. He's Jason. We're the Device Guys. Welcome to the podcast, Jason.
How do you do?
How do you do?
How do you do?
I do just fine, thank you.
Attaboy, me too. This is fun. We're back. This is that first one. I mean, I think we everyone knows that we're rookies at this, but that was really it was fun. The time flew.
It was fun, and time did fly. I really enjoyed it. I think that we talked a little bit about what we want this podcast to be. And I think the two words were entertaining and interesting.
Yep.
Those were the two words. And I started thinking about it. The third word is going to be engaging.
I want to be engaging. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
We
mean?
want to get people contributing to this as well, right?
Right.
Whether it's on social media, however they shoot questions. I mean, shoot us down. Shoot holes in what we're saying.
Engage with social media with us. I mean, we're in cardiology. That's our little worldview. But there's so many other subspecialties. There's spine. There's orthopedics. There's uro. There's all these different device people that are out there that we'd like to hear from. That we have the ability with Bad Bet Productions and Diego here. We can pipe people in remotely. Love to have people in studio, but I think
that'll be fun.
That would be awesome to kind of get this podcast to that stage where we're engaging with people that are outside our little world. Don't you think?
I think it's good. I mean, we got to walk forward, run, but I like the vision. Let's do it.
Right.
Let's figure this out. I'm going to stop you right there. We need a little thank you out to Mike Whitlock and Silver Tongue Productions, because man, that guy.
Silver Tongue voiceovers.
Silver Tongue voiceover. That's on me. I apologize, Mike. But that was Silver Tongue Devil.
Yeah, Silky Mike Whitlock.
Yeah.
We were lucky to have him.
We're lucky to have
Well, we
him.
owe him a debt of gratitude.
And we owe it. Just
And we
wait for the call.
Yes, we do. So last episode, we got to know you.
Got to know me.
We got to know you,
Yeah.
didn't we?
So let's do it. Let's get to know Brent. Let's do it. We're going to get to know Brent and where he came from, what he does. So let's start it off. Let's kick it off.
You want to talk about the color of my glasses first?
Do I want to talk about it?
I mean, what do I got?
Listen, you're going. I have to try not to talk about it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
I have to try not to talk about it. I looked at Amber Rose the entire last episode.
At the rose.
The rose.
Those are technically fuchsia. The rose are not quite as.
Is that right? So that's the order number. Is fuchsia.
Fuchsia.
Okay.
Zenny.com. That's where I got them.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to
They
Zenny.
do look good. You pull them off.
I was checking out. I was getting regular glasses, and I was checking out, and there was a question that said, "Add a tint."
Of course you like.
I've never looked back. That was like 5 years ago.
I've
never looked back.
And why would you? I tell you. So I just got those new glasses that I've been wearing with the the photochromatic, the transition lens. I'm having a tough time balancing it. Now, when I'm outside, I love it. I love
right.
it. I mean, but I walk inside and you do feel
You look like a creep.
I look like a creep.
They take
it's
like
too long.
4 hours to get back.
It's not. It's longer than it should.
So you're admitting this now.
I've
been telling you.
Listen,
this.
I know you were saying it, and I'm like, no, it's gonna be fine. And that's me. I'm a petrol optimist. It's gonna be fine. It's not fine. It's not fine.
It's not fine. Because I lived that. I told you. If you would have talked to me,
I am sticking with it. All I have to do is process.
They should be your outdoor glasses.
That's all. I've got outdoor glasses. I need them for the indoor. They're indoor glasses, and they, I like the way they fit. It's great. So I'm staying with it.
You look like a John Malkovich.
I understand the look. The look is not good. It's very creepy. But you just tuck them in the pocket, let them dim, and then put them back on. But
they never quite get there.
I do like a little bump of tint, just a little.
It
keeps people on their toes.
Just go, then own it.
I don't want to go yell. I can't do that. The aviators don't do that. Those ones didn't fit my face. They hurt. Look at this big stupid head. Look at the drunk. Hey, listen. I got to give a shout out to your daughter, by the way, for this artwork. She did such a good job.
Artwork by Emery Jane Productions.
She crushed it. She's
she
so
did,
good.
Didn't she?
I love it.
We have stickers. I think there's going to be some merch.
There's going to be merch at some point. Again, walk forward, run. But let's do it.
Yeah, there's going to be some merch. But shout out to Emery for the logo. And there's another little logo. I don't know if you can see on the back of that, but
so cute.
It's she does good work. And She is not doing it for a debt of gratitude.
No, she's doing it for doing it.
No, she's getting paid.
Yeah.
She's getting paid.
She's getting paid.
Not well, she hasn't paid yet.
She hasn't paid yet. We'll figure it out.
She has to invoice me.
Well, she's got an invoice. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
We'll give her a 1099. Well, let's
moving on.
let's get into this. So, what do you do? Tell me what your job is now. Tell us what you do now in your career.
I work in a procedure called TAVR,
Okay.
transcatheter aortic valve replacement. So this is a heart valve that goes in just like a coronary stent would go in. It goes an artery in your leg usually, and it's threaded up into your diseased aortic valve, and it's deployed in the diseased valve, and you go home the next day. It cures this disease.
That's so awesome.
It is awesome. It was a breakthrough therapy when it was approved. When we first started doing this, it was approved for only patients that were too sick to have a surgery. So you can imagine, the first studies done were on patients that were 85 years old.
Okay.
And they had to be seen by 2 surgeons saying that they were not a surgical candidate. Find me a surgeon that's going to say, I can't get this patient through surgery.
I can't fix that.
Right.
Where are they?
They all can fix it.
They can fix
So you could just imagine how sick the patients were.
Yeah.
That we were doing in the initial study, and then, initial commercialization. I came on board about a year after this valve was approved by the FDA. At that time, we were still only approved for patients that could not undergo a surgery. Eventually, we got approval for high-risk patients. And then over the years, it's been, 14 years of commercialization. Over the years, we have developed the evidence in New England Journal studies that demonstrate this valve is as good or better than aortic valve surgery. And the most awesome thing about it is these patients go home the next day.
So this is one thing that's interesting. As we talked about my job last time and the involvement, your involvement is in the procedure. But that's it. Well, actually, I'm also very interested. I always touch on how you guys get to the procedure. That's part of it that interests me. So tell me about, what's the process to getting what do you do before you get to the hospital?
Right. So patients are referred for an evaluation when they you'll have a heart murmur. And referring cardiologist will send that patient to a heart team. Heart team consists of a surgeon and a cardiologist, and they will evaluate you for the best therapy for you. So we still do surgery. Patients that are young that have anatomy that is more amenable to a surgery, like they have a dilated ascending aorta, or they have.
Hey, just pump the brakes there. Let's not get technical. Just pump the brakes.
Touche. I got you.
Touche.
Right.
I'm looking for what do you do? So when I look at my follow up and everything I have to do after I do a case, it seems to me like what you do is prep before.
Yes. Okay. You're right. There's way more before the case that we do on our side. There is nothing after the case. I never see a patient. Never do I see a patient unless I run into
you run into them at the Starbucks,
which I have seen that has happened before, right?
Look at the ground. Look at the ground.
Right.
There's HIPAA. There's rules. You can't know these people.
Yeah, you can't just approach people. But there was that's another story. Won't go really into that. But we see these patients CT scans before. So what happens is they get evaluated for aortic valve replacement. They're deemed to be a TAVR candidate. The valve clinic coordinator will upload a CT scan to the cloud. Me or my team, I've got a couple of clinicals that I work with, will download that CT scan, and we provide a workup for that patient where we size the valve, we determine which leg we're going to go up, or if we can't go up a leg, we look at carotids, we look at all kinds of things that we would potentially watch out for that could be problems in a case, and we provide that report as a service. It's as part of the price of our valve. We provide that report to the team. Now the team does their own review as well,
right?
But you mentioned in our first episode that the volume of cases you do helps your credibility, and it allows them to trust you because you do a lot of them. It's the same game with what we do. My clinicals do hundreds and hundreds of aortic valve CT workups.
How'd you learn to do this CT? I mean, reading a CT is not necessarily easy. I don't even know that I would know what I was looking at. How'd you go about learning that?
You should see this software. An idiot like me can use it.
What?
It's crazy. It's there's a number of different 3D reconstruction softwares. We use one that is it does a lot for you, and we can do a CT review. Like if you're good at it and you've done it for a while, you can work through a patient in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
When you're new at it, or if you have a poor quality CT scan, which
that can happen.
That happens frequently.
Yeah.
They can take longer, but company I work for provides terrific training, and then people you work with, you can learn a lot from them as well.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it.
And you like this?
It's awesome. It's the best job ever. It's the best therapy. It's a cure. Do you know this condition, heart valve failure, right? Aortic stenosis is
heart valve failure.
Heart valve failure.
I like that.
I
don't like it, but it sounds
it's good, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Heart valve failure. It has the same mortality as like lung cancer at 2 years. As soon as you start getting symptoms, you have a 50% chance of dying at 2 years.
It's so cool to be, we are non-medical professionals, but we get to contribute like this in a way that actually impacts people's lives. It's really fun. All right, so let's talk about this. What was your journey? How'd you get here? Look at you. I look at you as one of the top guys in the medical field that I've ever met, I've ever seen. Anywhere I've worked. Well, so Jason, how'd you get here?
You're embarrassing me, Jason.
That's my job.
No, listen, I like you, was a bartender. Sometimes when people ask me, hey, did you look at that CT? What do you think? I'm like, I'm a bartender.
Why do you want to know what I think?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. That was my job. I was it took me years, 7 years to get through college. I'm tending bar, kind of networking, trying to get into a sales position, not necessarily even medical sales. But I worked at a cool place in Salt Lake City called Bocce. It's not there anymore, but it was like an Italian restaurant. It was, if you live in Salt Lake, it was a gastronomy restaurant, which back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, they
top
were
notch.
Top notch, right? Cool place.
I have a feeling you were a different kind of bartender than I was. What'd you wear?
A white shirt. White shirt and bow tie.
Bow tie?
Well, you could wear a necktie, but I went bow tie. You want to know why?
Here we go. Why'd you go bow tie?
Because I tied my own bow tie.
You had to. What are you going to do? Clip it like on prom night?
No, you're not going to clip it. You're not going to, and no one knows if you clip it, right?
No, they don't know.
So what was the best thing about the bow tie is when the shift was over, you could untie it.
You untie it.
And then it just hung.
Yeah, it sends a message. I'm the guy.
Yeah, I tied this myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, starched white shirt, logo on the back. It was a cool place. White, black pants, right?
Yeah.
Apron, the whole thing.
The whole thing. You're a different kind of bartender than me. I was shorts and a button-down short sleeve. I looked like I was bartending on the beach, but I was in a basement.
Were you like Tom Cruise?
I was not like Tom Cruise.
No, listen, I happen to know a couple of people that worked with you
at
One Piece.
Okay, go on.
And I think maybe the word would be like deliberate.
Deliberate?
Yeah, deliberate.
That was sensitive. Those guys worked with me in the early days. Listen, I figured it out.
Did you get better?
I was a slow bartender.
You were
first.
slow.
I was a slow bartender.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. People just had to set their expectations when they were working with it.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite thing about being a bartender was?
Talk to me.
It was the look of joy on the waitresses' faces as they filed in for their shift, and they noticed they were going to be working with me.
Oh, is that how that went down?
I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that because they knew they knew they were going to make a lot of money and they were going to have a good time.
It was going to be a good shift.
It was going to be a good shift.
It was going to be a good shift.
And listen, Jason, I'm not saying I wasn't tough love, right? Like there were times, you're not pooling your drinks. Don't one drink me down there at the bar. I'm busy. I got 8 chairs here. I got a whole room and I've got 6 of you. Don't you dare come here and order a gin and tonic and nothing. You pool your orders.
Listen, I'm stocking ice here and cleaning glasses. Let's make this work.
Right, we're going to get along if we just, do our jobs well.
Let's work together.
All
right, let's go.
So that was my first job. Well, that was the job I was doing before I got my first job. The way I got the job is I had this guy come in. He was an acquaintance, but he would come in occasionally. But I knew he had a job selling knee braces, and I was asking him about his job. And he told me he had quit his job because it just wasn't for him, and he was going to go back to finance. He was working in a bank before he had this job.
Okay.
And he said, you'd be good at that job. He says, but the guy, my old boss, he's in town right now, and he's interviewing for my replacement.
This is like on a Tuesday. He's
like on a Tuesday.
Wow. Okay.
And here's the thing: like, is there a better reference to a job opening than the guy that just quit? Maybe.
Hey, Larry. I'm down here having a cocktail. This bartender would be great. Yeah.
Did you say bartender? Yeah.
Bartender. He'd be great.
Send him right over.
Over.
No, so he told me he's at the Embassy Suites Hotel, and he told me his name. That's it. There's no cell phones, right? So
what was this, back in the Reagan administration?
Maybe who's after Reagan? Clinton?
Could have been Clinton.
No, it wasn't. No, it was Bush. It was
Bush. Yep. Okay, go.
But it was like then, right?
Yeah, that was pre-cell phone.
Pre-cell phone. So I go home to this duplex I lived in with a roommate, and I wrote a resume on a typewriter.
Ooh.
Looked good. It did look good.
Did it look good?
And I made it as sexy as you can make a resume with no experience.
Yeah, a couple years post-college.
Yeah, well, I was the editor of my college paper, junior college paper. I wasn't the editor of my Division I college paper, but I played a Division I sport. I went
humble
to
brag there.
Right.
Division I sports.
Division I sport.
Okay.
They love that. We both know device people. There's a lot of people.
They love an athlete
that played college sports. You played a sport in college.
Me? No, I'm a non-athlete.
Well, skiing's a sport.
Skiing's a skill. Skiing's a skill. I'm not athletic. Athletic means you can run or you can jump. I can do neither. But I can
swing a golf club.
Yeah, it's getting there.
No, noted. So anyway, I dropped the resume off at the Embassy Suites. I leave a message, and I call. He doesn't answer, of course.
You went over to the Embassy Suites, and you dropped him resume off at the front desk and say, "Give this to Mr. Bloom."
Patterson.
Pat
Patterson.
Patterson.
I lost contact with him, but I love that guy.
God bless you, Pat Patterson.
God bless you, Pat Patterson. If you're out there, hit me up.
So you went over and dropped this resume. Go on.
Then I called his room, and he didn't pick up, and I left a message. And then I went home, and I stared at the phone. Because what are you going to do?
Nothing.
You have to be there. There's only one number. I stared at the phone.
You knocked the phone out of your wife's hands if she picked it.
Well, I was there all by myself. There was no call waiting, no nothing. So I waited for the call. He didn't call. So then I waited. Like that afternoon, I called again. He never returned my call. I went back down to Embassy Suites. I'm like, hey, did Mr. Patterson pick up my envelope? Yeah, he did. He did.
So you're stalking him at this point.
Total stalk job. And then I called him again. Nothing. So then the next day, I can't remember if I called again and he picked up or he called me. Whatever.
Whatever happened. He made contact.
Finally had contact with him, and he said, "Look, you're not qualified. Like same line you got. I can't have a bad hire.
Yeah.
You need to have some sales experience. You don't even have any sales experience, little in medical sales. So he said, but I'm going to interview you because I admire your tenacity."
I like that. Which that fight was good. Yeah. I mean, it was uncomfortable. Even hearing about it was uncomfortable.
Yep, right.
But you got there. All right, go on with the interview.
So I go to I went to the Embassy Suites. I think I had a suit. I don't know. I can't remember. But I threw.
You didn't tie the bow tie?
No bow tie, but maybe it was like sport coat. Sport coat and slacks, because I don't think I had a suit back then.
Sport coat, maybe a golf shirt.
Oh no.
Oh no, you had the white shirt from the bar.
White shirt, tie, sport coat, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not an idiot.
No.
Okay, so I show up, I look the part, and the interview's in his room, like hotel room. It's not like I have a little conference room. You know,
Wait,
or
wait,
like
wait,
at a
wait,
coffee
wait,
shop
wait,
in the
wait.
lobby. It's not. I'm in his hotel room, like a queen bed.
Were you sitting on the corner of that bed?
Wasn't sitting on the corner of the bed, but it was there. Like it was right there, and it was made. The bed was made.
That's disconcerting.
It's weird. Like today, that would never happen.
Are you kidding me? No.
Who is he? Harvey Weinstein?
You said it. I didn't. I thought it.
No, I never felt weird or anything. But it was. I mean, you look back on it, you're like, yeah. I mean, what if he was interviewing, a woman? That's not good.
No.
Right? But that's a different time. It's a
Different time. Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, this has gone on a long time, but I got the job.
Yeah.
He hired me. And so from there, I had success selling knee braces. It was a knee brace job. And, they were custom knee braces. Our big athlete that was our spokesperson was, if you remember, Philadelphia Eagles great, Randall Cunningham. He was our guy. He was on all of our brochures. So anyway, I did that, had success. Was approached by a total joint distributorship company called Helmetica, which is now, I think, they're part of Stryker. I did that. They had a trauma line, hips, knees. So I learned that. I did that. And that went great. And then I had an opportunity to take a job at J&J, and it was way more money. And I look back on it, I had some leverage with Helmetica.
Yeah.
But I was just a kid. I didn't really understand. I had success there, and I had moved the needle. And I probably could have gone and asked for more money from this distributor, but I just didn't know. I just thought, okay, well, here's where I'm at, and J&J is going to offer me, $20,000 more. So I took it, and that was my next job.
It's interesting what we don't know when we're young as far as the negotiation piece of what we're going to do. But I mean, everything happens and it does, and you move forward now. So that was when you got out of joints, got out of ortho, and got into cardiology.
This was the
no. Go.
Yeah, the transition to this was a biotech drug. And it was a drug that they had a new indication for. It's basically Epogen. It was called Procrit, right? But it was Epogen. It was, it was blood doping. It's the drug that cyclists
Lance got in trouble for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And the indication was to pre-dose these patients that were going to get a hip or a knee surgery where you're going to lose some blood and build the hematocrit up. Right? So that way they don't have to go give autologous blood before their procedure or risk a transfusion.
Autologous, that's good. That's an industry term.
That's an industry term.
Yeah.
So anyway, they dose the Procrit. They go in with a crit of 46, 47 instead of 36, 37, and they can lose some blood. So anyway, I did that. I got it up and running really quick.
That seems like a no-brainer.
I don't know if they're still doing it. I don't know. I don't know if that's still, but I had everybody up and running, and then there was nothing really to do, and I was kind of bored. Mm-hmm. Like I was going to the gym every day. I was playing golf. It was just
you were working the 4 T's.
What's the 4 T's?
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 2.
yeah. I've never have heard that before.
What?
But that's kind of what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was not, the best thing about that time at J&J. That's when I met my wife.
Ooh.
I had lots of time to date.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, our first date was, our very first date, I took her to our Christmas party in LA. That's a whole other story. Well, maybe.
That's a strong move.
This would be an hour-long.
Let's get to that on another episode.
This will be an hour-long episode if I go down that path. But anyway, I left there after a year. I just wasn't challenged. But I'll tell you what, what was the tipping point with me leaving that job is they knew they had a bunch of people like me that had orthopedic backgrounds that weren't really doing anything because there wasn't anything to do. And so they got another drug for us.
Okay. And
the drug was called Sporanox.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
Sporanox. So does that sound like it might be an antifungal?
It does sound like an antifungal.
Oh. And it was an IV drug. It was a powerful antifungal.
Why would you need an IV antifungal?
I don't think I could answer that right now. Like they were trying to train us on what this drug was, what its indication was.
Oh, got it.
And they had, they wanted us to be calling on intensivists. And at the time, like, I didn't even know there was a doctor called an intensivist, right? So we go to training we were in Marina Del Rey, California. We're at a big training meeting, and the guy from an intensivist from Cedars-Sinai is up at the podium, and he's showing slides of fungal infections.
This is what I meant by why would you need this? I'm trying to picture the fungal infections.
Oh, no,
so
you
go
don't
on.
want that. It was the hair on the back of my neck, and everybody looking at each other like, oh my God, I don't, So the crescendo of this was he tells a story about this next patient is an HIV positive male. He went mushroom hunting in the forest with his friends, and they came back with their mushrooms, and they made a mushroom pasta that night. 2 days later, he presented in the ER with this. Next slide, please. Mushroom growing out of the roof of his mouth. A literal mushroom growing in his mouth.
That image is never going to leave my head.
It's never left mine.
How? Oh yeah. Okay. So, move on.
No. The big collective groan in the room. Like everybody's like, ugh. It was like the worst of all. You saw all these bad slides, but then there's this one, and I still remember the guy's name next to me. His name was Wes.
Okay.
And I turned and I said, Wes, you mark my words. You have seen the last of me. I'm not selling an antifungal. I'm not doing it.
How do you do that? Yeah, that's it. Oh, boy. Well, someone's got to do it. Because I tell you what, that problem, I don't even need to know that problem exists.
No, it's something you can't unsee. But anyway, I called a recruiter, and within a few months, I had a job in the cath lab. And, from the cath lab, I was selling a closure device, which is, a way to get a patient up and walking way sooner than they normally would have. So it kind of changed workflow in the cath lab. And I had success there, and that allowed me the opportunity to interview at Boston Scientific Coronary. And I spent, we launched drug-eluting stents in 2004. And I had a 10-year career at Boston Scientific, a lot of success there. And then from there, I took this job in structural heart, and that's been more than 12 years ago. But the interesting thing is, the last 20 years in cardiology, 20 plus years in cardiology, it's the same customers.
It's the same customers.
I've had these long-term relationships with people for that entire time.
Your progression in your career moves pretty linearly. I really like it, how you've moved through. The braces and stents, that was kind of your foray in, but going through all the phases of cardiology has been pretty interesting. It works out nicely. Like, I look at me, I've been selling pacemakers for 21 years.
21 years, yeah.
21 years. And it's one of those things that gets in your blood. I think the downside of the job is the constant demand is what you you either love it or hate it. And It either fuels you or it breaks you. And I think we got lucky enough to have it fuel me.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. And I think in your field in EP, the technology doesn't iterate as quickly as it does on the vascular and structural side. Mm-hmm. Like there's always something new coming out. And right now, structural heart, really hot.
Yep.
Every valve needs attention, and there's companies out there that are working on every valve.
Every valve in the heart, yeah.
Every valve in the heart. And there's opportunities because of how these structural heart devices have changed patient care.
Okay.
In EP, it's, there's 4 companies basically, and they have all got the same stuff.
Everybody makes good stuff. Everyone makes reliable stuff.
Right.
We're starting to do things. And there's advents in going, leadless pacemakers, and there's subcutaneous ICDs, and then we're now looking at pacing the left bundle system. We're trying to be more physiologic, and there's some things to contribute to that, and that's been really fun to learn. So we are moving, but it's basically we're pacing and defibrillating.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was a really fun trip down, kind of going through your career. We're kind of wrapping up our time here, but it was good to look back. And it's funny to see the similarities that you and I have had throughout our careers. Clearly you were a bartender, and I was playing a bartender. I was playing a bartender. I can get you a shot of Jaeger and a jug of Bud Light, no problem. Right? I'll keep up the best I can. I wasn't the best. I know it. I got lucky enough to be here. But yeah, thank you. That was really fun.
We've had kind of similar journeys, like the tenacity to get in there and get our first job, and we turned out to be pretty good at what we
We ended up being kind of good at this, and it's
Right.
been fun. Well, it's going to be fun to go forward from here, right? I can't wait. It's going to be fun to kind of delve into some of the topics now that we know your background and where I'm from, and we can kind of bring in some ideas from out in the field.
I love it. I love it. We want to be entertaining. We want to be interesting, and we want to be engaging.
Exactly. Let's be engaging.
Let's be engaging. We look forward to interacting with you guys on social media. And, as always, thanks for listening. We owe you a huge debt of gratitude.
Huge debt of gratitude. And I tell you what, if you're out there, you see someone doesn't have a smile on their face, give them one of yours.